Welcome back, barbarians! And in today's video, we're going to be talking about what I think is going to be, what I know is going to be Season 20 meta. But before we get started, what do you think is going to be Season 20 meta based on the recent developments in the weapon tuning? Feel free to comment down below. If you do find this video informative, please drop a like. Thank you. Alright, so let's go ahead and dive into it. I think, without a shadow of a doubt, because of what the changes were to heavy grenade launchers listed in the weapon tuning, Anarchy once again is going to come out on top. And the TLDR on that is that heavy grenade launchers are going to do 20% more to champions, mini bosses, and bosses, and then 40% more damage to miners. And then Bungie later confirmed that Anarchy is getting these changes / buffs as well. Parasite is not. Now immediately I was thinking about Anarchy as is going to. Most other folks as well. The fact that Anarchy is coming back. Now if you don't know, this was a drop from the Scourge of the Past raid. This was a very, very good raid. Short, mind you, but so much fun. So if you didn't play, it was a while ago, a few years back, quite a few years actually. Taking a trip down memory lane, then that's okay. You can still buy it with your spoils, and you can be spoiled until your heart's content. I will say farming spoils right now, a couple of the best ways. You can farm the first encounter of the Deepstone Crypt. That is very fast. Or you can also farm the sisters in Oryx, or perhaps the first encounter for Vault of Glass. And then you can always do the first chest solo in the Vow of the Disciple raid. Any of those options will get you spoils. Make sure to do them week after week, because the maximum amount you need is 240, which is also what you need in order to purchase one of those exotic weapons from the raid if you weren't playing during that time or don't have it. So definitely make sure to spend the time to get it. I know it's a lot of spoils of conquest. However, this exotic rock grenade launcher, there really isn't a replacement for it, and it's synergy moving into next season with Arc 3.0, with potentially many other builds we have yet to even unveil or uncover. I think is just too good not to go for it. Now here, in this gameplay you're looking at, as I'm just a talking head behind a microphone, this is what I think is going to be my loadout going into Lightfall. This is subject to change as time gets closer, but I think for the most part I'll run a primary or a kinetic sniper, which at this point is going to be the Secession. I'm still trying to get the deep sight resonance so I can craft it. So far I've only gotten one. My luck is awful. And then I'm going to run an SMG, and in my heavy slot I will run Anarchy. Of course this will change from time to time, but for the most part I would say that will be my loadout going forward. So let's talk about Anarchy. Shooting it at the ground, as I'm sure you've seen, creates a trap almost. And then where you shoot the other grenades creates a tether point between the two, which arcs lightning and damages the enemy near it or inside it. So in this instance, the thing about it is it's very good for doing DPS to a boss. A single target, you can tap it twice, so those charges are bouncing back and forth between each other with damage, or you can lay kind of a trap on the ground for when enemies spawn like I'm doing here. All options are great. It has a really good uptime in terms of after you're firing it, it's staying on the floor. And really where its versatility comes in PvE, especially in-game content, since it's coming back into the meta, is really set it and forget it. So you don't have to be engaged with the target in order to be doing DPS, which is really the draw for Anarchy. You can see in that door when I had those up, I was just watching them die. The ads can only quote unquote be so smart. You know where they're going to come out of, you know where they are. Make the trap and get the kill. So looking at this as an exotic heavy, knowing it's coming back, one of the things that's kind of against it is a couple. One, it does not have a catalyst at the moment. I'm hoping with its reintroduction it gets one. However, I'm not keeping my hopes up whatsoever, because let's be honest, the thing's already so good. But I would still love to see one. And secondly, it doesn't have an innate perk to deal with champions like many other exotics do, which isn't typically too much of a downside. However, with Nightfalls really becoming more and more of a go-to activity, and those are champion-based, and the fact that our artifact this season had a grenade launcher that, stuns unstoppables, I don't see Season 20 bringing a mod that does such a thing. However, I know there's a lot of rework. There's many unknowns. So again, this is just mere speculation on my part. Let me know what you would think in the comments below. Do you think Anarchy is going to be viable? How do you think it's going to interact with different champions? I don't know. I hesitate. I hope it gets an intrinsic perk. Maybe it's really good against barrier champions. That would be super, super cool. I would actually omit it getting a catalyst if we were able to get something like that. Of course, this is just I'm just dreaming here, but why not? And looking at this loadout here, I think it's going to be very versatile. I'm going to run Arc probably on all 3 subclasses to start out until, we play through the campaign in Lightfall and I get Strand unlocked. And then, of course, I'll be messing around with that. But back to Anarchy, this thing's been, since its inception, something that's highly sought after. And again, with those grenade launcher buffs, it's going to be good for single-player activities such as the campaign on normal or legendary. It's going to be great for Nightfalls. It's not so good in the Crucible. And when I say not so good, I mean very bad. Yes, it's fun to go for some Anarchy kills, but it's just kind of silly. If you happen to have heavy, the most fun I've had with it is shooting somebody's Wall of Radiance or getting inside somebody's bubble, and they get really confused why they're taking dot damage, which means damage over time, and then they end up dying. So, that's fun, but it's very circumstantial. And speaking about ammo, I think this with light machine guns are going to be very viable, and light machine guns are getting an ammo reserve buff. Grenade launchers, heavy grenade launchers aren't. However, I don't think it needs it. If you look at my Anarchy ammo here, I think in total I was holding 20 or 22, and with reserves, which I did not have on during the filming of this clip or this video, it can even hold more. I think up to 26. Feel free to comment if I'm incorrect in that number. So plenty. And this is kind of foreshadowing, I think, to heavy grenade launchers, not just Anarchy, are going to become very viable. So which one will you be using, exotic or legendary? Let me know below. And I really appreciate you guys watching. I'll see you in the next video.